Quartermaster Corner. This is part 2 of the Hammock Camping series. In this video, we're going to be talking a little bit more about technique and theory rather than the products kind of section that I focused on last time. Now, if you guys did not see that video, I'll have it linked down in the description below, along with the other video that I did a few years ago about those products. And basically what it was is 3 different hammock camping setups that should pretty much cover all the bases in terms of price and quality, as well as the different features that you might get. So I'll go ahead and leave you guys to check those 2 videos out before coming to watch this one, and then make sure to come right back. So we're going to be talking about, like I said, technique and kind of the approaches to hammock camping that you can take for the best sleeping possible. So first off, let's talk about kind of within the Boy Scout setting, hammock camping must be done in a leave no trace kind of environment. So basically, we're going to need to use some full webbing straps here. And if you don't have webbing straps, we might have to make some for you, or you might have to buy something like that. But we're not, at this point, not going to let you guys use just rope on the trees. And that's for a few reasons. First off, it digs into the trees. Second off, it's not as sturdy. So if you guys are sleeping in your hammock, and then you're going to have, it break in the middle of the night, obviously that's not going to be any fun. You could probably get pretty injured from a good hammock fall onto a root. I've done it before, so yeah, it's not really that fun. And so these are really guest-free. These are the Eno Atlas straps. I'm using my Eno setup here to show you guys my technique with. So first things first, you want to go ahead and wrap the tree straps around the tree and then back on each other. So you guys can see there's a loop right on the end here. And then basically what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and just wrap it around it. And as you guys can see, it's super tight on the tree right there. So I really think that's the best way to do it. No knots required there. But basically, you want to go ahead and get the straps both at about, I want to say eye level or above. So that's just going to help you, depending on what level of the terrain you're on. You want to make sure that it's even. They're both even with the horizon, I guess. So yeah, that's important as well. Now, we're going to go ahead and kind of unpack the hammock here. So this one, like I said, is my Eno Tech Nest hammock right here. So you're going to go ahead and clip the carabiners onto the straps. So if this is your setting you want it on, just like that. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you a little bit about what makes your nights of sleep so good. So you want to make your hammock as even as possible on it. You want to make it as level as possible, because usually what happens if your foot end is lower than your head end, you're going to slide down to the foot end and vice versa. And that's no fun for anybody sliding out of the end of your hammock. I've also had uncomfortable nights related to that as well. So you want to make sure it's nice and even. And I used to want to put 30 degrees of angle in the edges. So if you guys make a finger gun with your hands, this is a 30-degree angle right here. So you can go up to your straps and make sure that they are a 30-degree angle. And then you can also sleep on the diagonal. And if you guys don't know what that means, there's a bunch of hammock camping videos about it. And that really will help you guys lay completely flat. But one other technique that I do recommend, and I've started using more and more, is just the lay flat technique. No diagonal or any of that. Just put a slight amount of sag, about 15 or so degrees of sag in your hammock, and you should be pretty much good to go. So it's going to be a lot of trial and error. Just kind of figure out what works for you. Some people like the lay flat method more, which I've come to like a little bit more than the diagonal method. But the diagonal method is a proven method that most people that use hammock camping on the Appalachian or the Pacific Coast Trail, they like that a little bit more, just because it's more like a bed. So depending on what you have, it'll work differently for you. So yeah, that's the basic setup. Then anything else that I need to touch on is basically related to the tarp and the bug net. Now you want to make sure you have enough slack in your bug net that you don't feel restricted in your hammock by it. So make sure that your bug net is low enough to you that there's a lot of room under you, so that it will help you out. If you guys don't know what I mean, you can watch some other Eno Guardian bug net reviews and you'll kind of see what I mean there. So the next thing is about your tarp. No matter what tarp you have, you want to make sure at the end of the day that it's really, 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 really tight. If your tarp is not tight, it's going to go ahead and pull up and collect the rainwater, and then it's more prone to getting you wet underneath, which is the exact opposite of the tarp's job. So make sure that it's nice and tight, and to tie it off really well so it doesn't sag in the middle of the night. Now we're going to talk about insulation. Alright guys, so now we're going to talk about the hammock insulation, which is so important and more important than most people think. So on a 50-degree night of camping, you guys might think, oh, I'll just take my 0-degree sleeping bag and I'll be just fine. However, that's not the case, because your down basically is only useful when it's nice and fluffed up. And when you're actually sleeping in your sleeping bag, the nice top part of you is all fluffed down, but the bottom part of you is compressed basically on your weight in the hammock. So if your sleeping bag's under you, your weight is right here in the hammock that you're sitting in. They're compressing it together, and the insulation is pretty much cancel it out, completely useless. Now, we don't really have a problem with this on the ground because the ground is a natural insulator. However, there's air that swings under the hammock in the middle of the night, so it's going to keep you nice and cold. So there's a few ways to combat this, and I have my one way that is completely DIY. This is actually a down blanket, or 2 of them that I got from Costco, and I made these into a underquilt, which basically is just another thing that's suspended under your hammock with these lines right here and some broken bungee cords. And basically that makes it so it's basically a sleeping bag for under you, which really works well, keeps you nice and warm. I used it at the advancement camp out and was nice and warm and toasty all night long. Now, if you guys don't really want to spend all that time or spend all that money on an underquilt, you can always go for the sleeping pad. And this one's going to take a little bit of fidgeting to get used to, just because it's a little bit harder to fit your sleeping pad inside your hammock. But once you get comfortable, you are nice and comfortable all night long and warm. So either way, there's many ways to do it. Just make sure you have something nice and warm under you that's not getting compressed like this down sleeping bag would be. I would recommend, if you guys have a 50-degree night of camping, or a 60-degree night of camping even, to definitely have something like this. But anything higher than that, you might be able to get away with just a 0-degree sleeping bag. So yeah, that really depends. So that's kind of the last thing that I really wanted to touch on in this video, just because it's so important. And like I said, that is a major factor in why some nights I've had to bail out of my hammock in the middle of the night. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this hammock series. Any questions you have, I'll be at summer camp. I don't think I'm going to be able to make it to any of the meetings leading up to summer camp, unfortunately, but I'll be there for that. Stay tuned for my next video, which is going to be all about summer camp and packing and all that stuff, because it's really important that you have all the right stuff and have the best experience possible as a Camp Friedlander. So yeah, see you guys later.